Today, I'm going to introduce you to an aspect of DBT Mindfulness that's called the What Skills. Alright, so the What Skills are exactly how they sound. They basically tell us what it is that we're supposed to do when we practice mindfulness. Later, we're going to talk about the How skills, which once again are pretty self-explanatory because they give us the guidelines for how we do it. Each What skill is a distinct activity that's designed to be understood and then played out in our behaviours separately. It's not the intention to combine them in any way. At the same time, it's really difficult to talk about each one without them kind of bleeding into each other. This gives us the framework for a mindfulness practice that can be incorporated into our daily activities, helping to build self-awareness through practice every single day. In dialectical behaviour therapy, we learn how to access the What skills when we're doing simple things like walking, riding a bike, doing the dishes, mowing the lawn, or even swimming. Inside of these activities, we're then using each of the mindfulness What skills to practice either observing something, describing what's been observed, or participating in the specific moment that we find ourselves in. We don't try to do these things in conjunction with each other. They are completely separate activities and they need to be practiced this way. If we do try to practice them at the same time, bouncing from one to the other, it's going to cause us to fall into the chaos of blended parts, all communicating at the same time, causing racing thoughts and polarizations that lead to an inability to focus on the situation from a one mindful perspective. Before we go through each What skill separately, it's really important to recognize that while it's essential to have a solid cognitive understanding for what each of these skills are, they have to be practiced experientially over and over again every single day. The essence of mindfulness from a DBT perspective is to develop and build the muscle that is our own self-awareness. Hopefully as adults, we're all aware that building any muscle takes hard work along with lots and lots and lots of practice. Without participating in mindful activities every day, learning how to identify and unblend from parts of our personality that are basically communicating in our thoughts, feelings and physical sensations, we won't be able to spot these parts when the chips are down and we really need to detach from them so we can avoid a particular ineffective behavior. Next, we're going to explore each one of the What skills one by one, starting with observe. Okay, so why is observing such a fundamental skill in the mindfulness aspect of dialectical behavior therapy? Let's take a look at this from a metaphorical perspective. We have to start by understanding and accepting that developing our ability to mindfully observe what's happening around us, and more importantly, what's happening within our personality system, it's kind of like walking across a room that's full of furniture with our eyes open when previously we tried to do it with our eyes closed. Either way, you can walk across the room. However, it's going to be way more effective for you to do it with your eyes open. If you don't like where the furniture is in the room or even the look and style of it, you might want to close your eyes to avoid the hideous nature of how it looks, but ultimately that's not very effective. This is obviously because you're going to keep running into the furniture, probably hurting yourself as you blindly navigate your way around the room. This is a fantastic metaphor for the way we walk through life with our eyes wide shut. Opening our eyes and actually observing what's going on in actuality is obviously going to be extremely helpful. The good thing about observing from a mindful perspective is that it brings us into contact with the real, factual present moment. It takes us away from our perceived version of reality and into actuality because, after all, this is where we need to live, in the here and now. Spending our time trapped in the past generally leaves us wallowing in guilt and shame, while constantly jumping into the catastrophic expectations of the future leaves us debilitated by our fear of what might or might not be. In the dialectical behaviour therapy What skills, next we have to learn how to describe. Learning how to practice the DBT skill of observe can actually change behaviour in any desired direction. Using the describe skill to follow it provides a means of processing the information we've just observed. Research has shown that describing and labelling our emotional experiences actually helps to regulate the emotions. In fact, brain image research has shown that when individuals begin to describe their emotional responses, the very act of labelling the emotion changes the way the brain responds, moving away from emotional distress towards the direction of emotion regulation. Basically, the describe skill is putting words to our experiences. First we observe, then we describe what we just observed. However, the DBT describe skill involves sticking only with the facts, without judgment or agenda. We describe from a place of compassion and at times curiosity, but as often as we can, we describe without the subjective point of view that's attached to our stories from the past. A good example of how we might describe things from a DBT perspective in the external world might be if I'm standing in a gallery looking at a particular painting. As I examine the image in front of me, the words landscape, green, yellow, and brushstrokes might come to mind. It's simply applying the basic descriptors to what's there to observe what's so and nothing else. I'm not referencing whether the painting is good or bad, whether it's ugly or beautiful. Those are all subjective points of view. An example of describing an internal experience from this perspective would be, I'm noticing that there is a part of me that's sad right now. Pay attention to the fact that I'm not getting into the reasons why there is a part of me that's sad. Just labeling it simply as sad. Getting into why there is a part of me that feels sad, or getting into a justification or judgment for the emotion itself, can involve our stories, which in many cases are not based in actuality. I'm simply describing the emotional experience that a part of my personality is having in this very specific moment. Next, we're going to explore the DBT What skill called participate. The third and final part of the What skills revolves around entering wholly into an activity, but what exactly does that mean? Whether it's taking part in an activity like dancing, cleaning, or talking to a friend, or if it's being with the experience of a specific feeling or emotion like happiness or sadness, it's important to go through these things in a way that makes you present. In order to do this, we have to become one with whatever it is that we're doing, in a way completely forgetting ourselves and throwing all of our attention into the very moment that we're in. When we participate from a DBT mindset, we act intuitively from wise mind, as though we are in the zone. We basically do just what is needed in each situation. For example, a skillful dancer on the dance floor is one with the music that's playing and their connection with their partner, not being distracted by thoughts of being or doing something else or avoiding the experience completely. A really big part of participation has an aspect of going with the flow to it, while keeping in mind the principal difference between impulsivity and spontaneity. Getting into a flow state is an important aspect of the DBT participate skill. The state of flow is widely considered to be the ideal individual experience of any moment in time, as it is basically completely incompatible with the state of boredom. In fact, the state of flow is more often than not generally associated with an intense sense of joy and an innate and natural state of pleasure that provides a subconscious feeling of the moment being completely under your control. This is often experienced when it comes to activities like sport or art, or basically anything that you have the potential to become fully immersed in. So things like skiing, running, playing a musical instrument, or painting or creating some particular piece of art. All of which can give you an experience of being lost in the moment and a sense of your own maximized well-being that can almost translate as a sense of organic ecstasy. So throw yourself completely into the activities that you're participating in. Don't separate yourself from the events around you and the interactions with the people in your environment. Engage completely, immerse yourself in the moment, become involved and opt in at every opportunity. Become one with what it is that you're doing and let go of your self-consciousness by acting opposite to it. Abandon yourself to the moment and concentrate in a way that you and what you're doing merge together as one, as if there is only right now, only what you're doing in this very moment. Act intuitively from a state of wise mind, doing just what is needed in each situation. Go with the flow and respond with spontaneity. Guys, if you take a look around my YouTube channel or go through the pages of my website, I'll drop some links in the description below. You're going to find more videos and handouts that expand on this and many other subjects associated with dialectical behaviour therapy. If you want to know more, I highly recommend coming to one of our online live conversations every week. I'll drop some links for those in the description below too. And as always, if you like the content of this video, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment and smash that like button. Turn on those notifications for all the latest from me and the Liberation Place. I hope this video gave you some insight for how you can change those behaviours that you're trying to change by really participating in the DBT What skills. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again. Take care, be safe and be well.